then was claimed to have levitated above her bed unconscious during a sleepover with a friend.
बिकॉज अगर वो इंसान के ऑर्गन फेलियर हो रहा है, जैक का आँख खराब हो रहा है, तो ये तो 1 साल रहे हैं उधर, उनके साथ तो पता नहीं क्या क्या
He decided to peg the blame completely on this particular house so that this episode becomes, or this season becomes very interesting. So from a very skeptical perspective, I can see that all of this can be staged. Even that accident of that photographer, whoever went from there, the police guy who went over there, somebody from the crew must have gone and tampered along with the car, and then afterwards it happened.
What the hell happened?
हाँ एग्जैक्टली, अभी भी हो रहा है.
तब से नहीं हो रहा था ना?
नहीं.
It's too early for podcast के लिए भी साला.
चेहरा सूजा हुआ लग रहा है.
Actually सबके आगे सूजी हुई है.
Awesome. Welcome back everyone to another episode of the Ghost Encounters Unfiltered Podcast. कल हम लोग रात को 3 बजे कर रहे थे, आज सुबह 7-8 बजे कर रहे हैं. So something is going on for you to watch these episodes or listen to this podcast, because we are trying very hard to bring in something really good.
Excuse our swollen eyes.
Yeah. Again, if you do not want to see swollen eyes, just feel free to go to Spotify or Apple Podcast and watch the or listen to the podcast. But if you are here, welcome back again. Thank you so much for listening to the previous episodes and liking it and commenting on the video. And I really hope you like this one too, because even this one is one of my favorites. Why? Because I've watched this particular case, as in studied it थोड़ा सा अच्छा खासा on this. I have my varied point of views to this as usual, but it is an interesting case जो कि बहुत लोगों को नहीं पता, and I think it will make a great episode for even the people who are looking out for these informations that we are sharing on our podcast.
हमारे लिए भी नया है ये केस for Savio and me.
Yeah, I don't think so. I've heard about this before.
Yeah. So we have a case, but before that, hi everyone, my name is Sarbajit.
This is Pooja.
And this is Savio.
And we are the investigators, psychics, exorcists, demonologists of the Ghost Encounters team. And जिनके बारे में आपने already शायद हमारे videos, पहले videos, investigation videos में देखा होगा on our channel. And if not, feel free to go check out our investigation videos, and then you can come back here, or you can watch this first and then watch the investigation videos. On this podcast, we take a case. It can be a famous or not so famous case. It can be a personal case or not a personal case, and we dissect it. We give the point of views of a psychic, of an exorcist, of a paranormal investigator, of a demonologist, and we try to show कि क्या possibilities हो सकती थी अगर अभी हम लोग डील किए होते वो चीज़ को तो. And going by the same trend of the stories, today's case we have is what infamously called as the Demon House. The Demon House became super famous after Zak Bagans, a paranormal investigator from the TV show Ghost Adventures. He bought the house and later investigated the entire property with his team and made a documentary on it by the name The Demon House. But before it became the Demon House, the story to it, the things to it are super creepy and can be a very good study for people who aspire to become demonologists or wish to study more on demonology.
But this is on a very different plane, right? I mean, this person purchased the entire house just to investigate.
And that's what he does actually. That's what Zak Bagans does. And of course, there are a lot of criticism around him. Because of his reactions or approach to certain investigations. But we cannot ignore the fact that he has been doing this series for the last 23 seasons. And from being just an investigator, he's now producer of the show. And no matter his reaction or how he exaggerates, as many people claim to be, he and his team have captured things जो कि many investigators can only dream of. So they're good in what they do, and that's why the season are still continuing with their show, right? Otherwise, मतलब of course उनको viewership मिल रहा है तभी तो वो लोग continue कर रहे हैं.
Right.
So I think as the universe goes, there are haters and then there are people who are liking the show. But I think the people liking the show is more than the haters. But amongst the paranormal community, he doesn't hold a very good position amongst few of them that I know. And I don't know the reason why. It could be because he's more successful, or probably because he exaggerates, or probably that people think he fakes things. But there are certain things, of course हमको भी पता है, when we see a thing कि फेंका जा रहा है, हमको पता है कि फेंका जा रहा है.
हाँ, लेकिन उन लोगों को नहीं पता है ना. Even in India also, you see a lot of we rebel against that, because a lot of a viewership in India also is around that mal masala.
अरे lot नहीं, most of the viewers.
Most of them.
Honest investigations are like tend to look down upon.
Correct.
And in fact हमारी वही तो हमारे वीडियोस में आके बोलते हैं, you know,
रात को नहीं जा रहे हो. When they don't know anything about it. I mean, and sensationalism has taken over everything right now.
So, among the community, he, whatever it is, but I have seen a lot of those episodes, and they're entertaining as hell. But also, there are a lot of other things that we learn. My point of view is that we cannot just ignore a person who is doing something for the last 20 years
Right.
or so. There's something that he's doing which others are not doing, and that's why he's more successful. He has a museum and it has been rated the best tourist place or something like that. मतलब last
haunted
3-4 साल से बार बार उसको अवार्ड मिल रहा है कि लास वेगस का मोस्ट विजिटेड टूरिस्ट प्लेस.
Where is this haunted museum?
नेवाडा.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and he has kept a lot of artifacts that he has collected over the years. So this particular case, the Demon House, so it's a very very recent case.
अच्छा, so by any chance जो Zak Bagans के आँखों में problem हुई थी, was it connected to this
This is the
property?
case. This is the case. This is the case, and that's why it's so interesting and a case study.
So
for
I
people.
heard about that. He had issues with his eyes where he had to actually.
Oh, wait for it. Let me complete
Yeah,
first.
ठीक है.
Coming to the conclusion even before case is discussed.
Yeah. Let me also get in on it. Yeah. I don't know anything about this.
Like suddenly कोई सुनेगा अच्छा उसका आँख खराब हो गया, like.
हाँ.
I know. I mean, I've heard about Zak Bagans, and I know that he's a celebrity investigator. But other than that, I don't know much.
He's an investigator who became a celeb.
Okay.
That's how. So yeah, it's a very recent case. It's of 2011. So it's not the 1970s and the 1800s we have been discussing for the last few episodes. So in November 2011, Latoya Ammons, her mother Rosa Campbell, and her 3 children, जब उनका एज था 7, 9 and 12, moved into a house located at 3860 Carolina Street in Gary, Indiana. Days after the family moved in, they claimed black flies swarmed the porch in December and kept returning even after the family believed they were killed. They did all kind of reactions of seeing those flies, but they, according to them, they kept on coming in. Campbell initially heard footsteps in the basement and doors creaking. Later, she alleged to have witnessed a shadowy figure of a man pacing in the living room and found a boot print. Campbell claimed she was choked by an unknown force. Ammons, who was the daughter of the family, who was 12 years old back then, was claimed to have levitated above her bed unconscious during a sleepover with a friend. They were said to have prayed until the girl returned to the bed. The daughter had no memory of the incident. The older son was allegedly thrown across the room by an unknown force. The younger son allegedly had his eyes roll into the back of his head and was growling, saying, "It's time to die and I will kill you." All 3 children went through different episodes. The family reached out to their physician, Jeffrey. It's a very dangerous surname, so I'm not going to pronounce it, but his name was Jeffrey, let's say Jeffrey O. On April 19, 2012, when he visited the house during the supposed haunting, he noted their behavior was delusional. Someone from his office contacted police. After police arrived, the children were taken to the hospital. The older boy was described as acting rationally while the younger boy screamed and thrashed. In 2012 itself, the Department of Child Service was allotted to the family. The DCS believed that, DCS is Department of Child Service, believed that the children were performing for their mother. Sensational stories published in outlets such as the New York Daily News reported that DCS personnel had allegedly witnessed the youngest boy walking up the wall backwards. 37-year police captain Charles Austin believed paranormal activity occurred in the house. A photo published by the Indianapolis Star claimed to show a shadowy figure when no one was at home. The family hired Father Michael Maginot to perform an exorcism. He interviewed the family on April 22nd, 2012 and concluded they were being tormented by demons. The family, agreed for a major exorcism that Father Maginot suggested them to perform. And before the exorcism could begin, he prayed over Ammons, all the family members, and made appeals to cast out demons. He named, it's a very interesting case though. He named demons tormenting Ammons during the ritual after she looked their identities up online, while the computer kept shutting down because he claimed the names had power, names of the demons. Then, with the Catholic Church's backing, he cast out the demons while holding a crucifix against Ammon's forehead. She convulsed violently and told Indie Star, a newspaper magazine, that the pain was as intense as giving birth. Maginot performed 3 major exorcisms on Ammons, 2 in English and the last one in Latin in June 2012. So much so, this case became viral with all these things, all these sightings, all these interviews that the family was giving to the magazines and everything, that it became international news, and every news outlet was talking about this house in Indiana that is said to be cursed, or a place or hell directly out there.
A portal to hell.
Yeah, portal to hell. And as it went famous, and Zak has this thing that a case or a place or an object that has a very very dark historical value, he is going to purchase it, or he is going to investigate it after he has got it with him. So when he heard, he bought the house. But before, and the documentary has shown many things that of course it's not mentioned out here, is that when he was trying to buy the house, from the very beginning itself, things are not going very smoothly. Pehle, the broker or whoever was trying to sell had a particular amount that he quoted to Zak, but when he was about to buy, the price had increased for some reason. So that was the first thing. Some reason, as in they got to know that they wanted to film and all. So as normal things happen here in India also, उन लोगों ने price बढ़ा दिया. Then उसके बाद he went on to interview few people जो कि owner थे. तो by then जो Ammons तो थे, जो वहाँ पे घर पे रहते थे, they had left the house. Because exorcism करने के बाद they were like, there is no point in staying or whatever, or things continued, I think, and they were suggested कि आप घर छोड़ के चले जाओ, because because the church and other people said that the issue is with the house and not with you that way. So you have to leave the house if you want to sustain and stay alive, basically. So उन लोगों ने छोड़ दिया था. But when Zak went on to talk to these people, they were not ready. They were like कि नहीं, हम लोग ready नहीं अभी बात करने को, and अभी काफ़ी time हो गया है. But later on, Zak figured out that उन लोग की जो life story है, they have already sold to a major producer. Is why they were not talking. So Zak doubted maybe there is some foul play in there, because it is also mentioned that a psychologist, the physician, said that they were being delusional, and that the Department of Child Service said that the children were performing for the mother so that she could get help from the government to treat them in some way or the other. But still Zak was like, कि इतना कुछ है, सब कुछ है, तो maybe he should go on to investigate. So then he found the police, as mentioned here, कि यहाँ पे this guy, one of the DCS personnel actually alleged of witnessing the youngest boy walking up the wall backwards. So she saw कि वो बच्चा जो है उनका he started walking backwards on the wall and she had no idea what would happen. Things went मतलब इतना मेसी हो गया कि that they had to call for 911 and the police officer had to intervene to figure out what is happening.
So there were many witnesses for this backward walking?
Yeah. मतलब not many witnesses, just the DCS personnel and the family. Those were the witnesses. But when the police officer came in, the police officer claimed that he too saw things that were very, very disturbing. And so Zak interviewed him, and right after he attended that case, the police officer was going back home. Either he was going back home or he was trying to attend the house. Something happened with his car. He met with an accident and he almost died.
Ouch.
As in he got some severe injury on his forehead or head, and he almost died while attending the case. And then what happened was Zak decided that there should be a proper investigation, and he is kind of an aggressor when it comes to investigation. He takes some extreme measures to investigate a property, and that's the best thing I like about him, because he goes on to that next level to get answers. So what he did was he sealed the entire house, as in सारे windows seal कर दिए, सब कुछ seal कर दिया, ताकि बाहर क्या चल रहा है, मतलब अंदर क्या चल रहा है बाहर के लोग नहीं देख पाएंगे and अंदर के लोग बाहर नहीं देख पाएंगे. They are like totally closed. Even the main door was shut, and the police team was informed that in case we do not come out in this particular hour, then please break us out of that house. That was the instruction request that was filed. Irrespective जो कुछ भी है, they started the investigation, and the investigation kind of continued for 2-3 days, though documentary में एक दिन का ही दिखाया गया है. But during that period they figured out there is a basement जहाँ पे most of the things were happening in terms of energy. So when he was digging more on the house, he figured out कि जब house लिया गया था, वो बेसमेंट में जब ये नई फैमिली आई थी, they saw there were candles जो कि जले हुए थे, and वहाँ पे बहुत कुछ किस्म के सब pentagrams and all बनाए गए थे, sacrifices were made and a lot of dark rituals were performed वहाँ पे.
Oh, तो already हो चुका था.
Yes, before the previous tenant. फिर ये लोग जब आए तब वो लोगों ने वो सब देखा, and even after the house is now demolished by Zak, after the investigation was done, people still go to that spot and वो मिट्टी के ऊपर वो लोग अभी भी rituals perform करते हैं, as claimed by the neighborhood. But while they figured out कि वहाँ पे जो कुछ भी होता था, when they dug more and figured out more, they found a lot of clothes of people जो कि बरी किए गए थे, lot of things जो कि बरी किए गए थे, which were part of something really dark, some rituals that were performed वहाँ पे.
That means वो initial basement form में जब था, I mean जब घर था तभी ये सब हो चुका था. Before they purged.
Yeah, before demolishing that house. So when they started the investigation, Zak was there, one more investigator was there, I think it was Billy, and they had one more camera guy. Now, before this could all happen, they had a guy who जिसका काम है is to study the geomagnetic lines and electrical lines and figure out about radiations and everything. So they took him to the basement, and while he was holding something that was similar to the tri-field that we use, there were constant spikes that even the engineer couldn't figure out कि क्यों हो रहा है करके. He was like, these spikes are not very natural, and he's a guy, and he's like, he must be 65 or 70, तो उसको कहीं से तो लेके आए थे, and he was very shocked the way things were happening. So they were like, कि ठीक है, अभी जो तूने रीडिंग दिया अभी तू जा, अभी हम लोग इन्वेस्टिगेट करेंगे. But before he left the house, he was like, कि मैं एक बार ऊपर भी चक्कर लगा के आता हूँ कि बाकियों का रीडिंग क्या है. And it's being recorded in a proper camera, that as he is moving from one room to another, there's a dark shadow that is captured on the camera. As in, so I'll just to give you an example, people those who are watching on YouTube, उनके लिए better होगा to understand, is कि if this is one room and right next to it is another room, so the person is walking and taking a right, it's not going straight to the straight room, and the camera is just following him. So as it is just moving, ये वाले सामने वाले रूम में it looks like a shadow just came in and he was like oops and he was just going back. And it's a very very dark mass that is captured वहाँ पे, and that is the beginning of what all unfolds out there in that entire house. Now when that thing happened, I think the cameraman was facing, मतलब उसका लेफ्ट साइड उस तरफ था, एंड ही काइंड ऑफ, मतलब उसका हाथ शायद उधर था एज ही वाज टेकिंग द टर्न, सो द थिंग ऑलमोस्ट मैनिफेस्टेड ऑन हिज हैंड. When they went back to the hotel to prepare for the final investigation, the camera guy was already complaining कि something is happening with his left hand, even though the evidence was not shared कि कुछ तो capture हुआ है करके. And the investigation starts. It takes a very serious toll, and this is where the criticism and all comes in, because the things that are happening, there is no way to conclude that the investigators are actually going through it or they are doing it for the sake of the video, because according to the documentary, they were all reacting in a very aggressive way. They are throwing out things, they were reacting to certain things, they started seeing a lot of demonic faces, demonic figures, and especially the camera guy, he was just reacting very 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 weirdly. Like I said, randomly at one point there is a scene, he's just looking at the camera, not looking at the camera, at one of the corners, and he's just talking to someone and he's saying please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me, like that. And all these things happen, you know. And the next day they come out and they are in the hotel and they are analyzing and things doing like that, and the cameraman snaps. He is like, you know, there is something in this hotel right here and it is following us from the room, from the house out, the demon house basically. And as he left the room and went to the, you know, he's like I need some fresh air करके वो निकल के जाता है, and he goes to the corridor. He says that he sees what looks like a figure that is 7 to 8 feet tall, has a goat head and is very muscular, has a dark figure, and he's just looking at him.
That's in the hotel room.
That's in the hotel corridor. And when he shares this with Zak, Zak says that before he took up the case, the very day when he got the call that there's a house like that, and if you're interested to investigate it, he saw a dream, and it's a dream that he constantly gets, is of seeing a figure exactly like that for the last 10-15 years, and he has no idea where that figure is coming from or where this figure lies.
यार ये तो मुझे अपने नैनीताल के इसकी याद दिला रहा है. I got the dream before actually reaching the place, and exactly the same.
Yeah, and even it is very similar to my dream that I have been seeing for the last 15 years that we are about to investigate. Is a dream of my uncle's place that I have been getting for the last 15-20 years. I have no idea why I'm getting that dream. But irrespective, Zak got this dream, and that's when things started unfolding. And when the camera guy shared that, you know, that's what he saw in the corridor, Zak was like, holy shit, this is what I was dreaming of, a figure like that. But by now, the camera guy was totally in aggressive mode, and other people were like, you know, maybe we should just let him go because he could just attack us right now. That's how aggressive he went. Then they went to the room again. They were trying to calm him down, and the cameraman says that whatever is out there is not after me, it is after you, pointing Zak, that it is after you, it's not after me, and it will do anything to take you or something like that on these lines. Now the after effects of what happened, again I think they again went for investigation because itna sab kuch jo hua. By now they realize the poor engineer guy, उसको भेज दिया गया था, उसका काम हो गया तो उसको भेज दिया. But before he went, the very next morning he gets a call, Zak gets a call from the engineer that he has fallen down from his bed and he is bleeding from his left ear from what he claims to be of a sound that is equivalent to a jet का super boom जो होता है ना, the sonic boom जो होता है, उतना तेज था. And he's like, how can that happen? The hotel people said, were like, ऐसा कुछ भी आवाज नहीं आया, but he was profoundly bleeding from his left ear and he fell from the bed too. And everyone is like, just गिरने से कैसे bleeding हो सकता है वो, and you know there are a lot of mixed reaction to that, but he said that. Then वो घर जाता है, उसका इंसिडेंट फिर से होता है, which I'll share. poor guy actually. But when Zak was investigating the final time, he was all alone in this room and he was triggering. And during the trigger, he heard what sounded like a very dark, growling voice, and he saw something. And when he saw something, there's an explanation, of course, to what he saw, but he claims that after what he saw that very night, it affected him so badly that the very next day he had to go visit the eye doctor because his eyes were constantly burning. There was pain, there was tears coming down. And when they went to the doctor said that he has got a disease of the eyes that cannot be treated, and that मतलब उसकी आंखें जो normal थी have now converged, and that now he has to wear specs that were like prism वाले जो होते हैं for जो उसके particular condition के लिए, and he believes कि it happened because of what he saw that night in that house. That is Zak's reaction or conclusion to that thing. But this engineer guy, when he got back home, they got a call that within 2 or 3 days his organs started failing.
Holy shit.
All the organs started failing. He was now put to life support, and it happened right after he came from Indiana. And the doctors have no explanation. He's not even recovering. I don't know the poor guy if he's still alive or not. But back then when the documentary was being made, it was said that he may not be able to make it because his organs are not reacting as into any medicines. The doctors are not getting और क्या करेंगे, क्या reason हो सकता है. But the team concludes that it is because of the house that they encountered. So keeping that in mind, Zak was like maybe he should demolish before anyone else comes in and investigates and faces what they faced. So as they were digging and demolishing, they found that जब घर वर उखड़ गया मिट्टी के नीचे, they found a cross and one more artifact. And what Zak did to keep uske museum mein, he took some mitti of that place with him to the museum. So now the mitti, the cross and everything is in his museum. But people still perform all kind of rituals at that place in Indiana.
But without dealing with the demon or the energy, आप अगर घर ऐसे ही demolish कर दो, I don't think that's going to help.
Yeah, it won't help.
It's not going to help.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, since you started narrating and I was patiently hearing, I'm looking at this case from 3 very different perspectives. One is from a complete, I'm always am. One is from a complete skeptical perspective. And if I see through that, I can see several loopholes. Yeah. I can see all of this can be staged. I can see all of these coincidences being portrayed as the effect of being in that house. Yeah, as to be demonic. Like तुम्हारे organs fail हो रहे हो तो you can बोल सकते हो ओ वहाँ पर गया था इसके लिए हो रहा है. And we know हम कौन से पानी में गुजर के आ चुके हैं, and what depths of investigations and what triggering that you do and everything. You can peg the blame of anything that happens to you on any of the past events or investigations that we have been through.
And probably Zak को शायद पहले से eye issue हो रहा होगा, which gradually showed up.
And he decided to peg the blame completely on this particular house so that this episode becomes, or this season becomes very interesting. So from a very skeptical perspective, I can see that all of this can be staged. Even that accident of that photographer, whoever went from there, the police guy who went over there, somebody from the crew must have gone and tampered along with the car, and then afterwards it happened. And
no, so the thing happened when he first took up the case. What the hell happened?
हाँ exactly.
मेरा ऑडियो क्यों फिर से प्ले बैक किया?
अभी भी हो रहा है.
तब से नहीं हो रहा था ना?
नहीं.
Sorted I think, yeah. So yeah, you were saying
things that can happen now.
Talking about things like this.
Paranormal, yeah. So from a very skeptical perspective, as you said, I mean, this happened even before the case could be taken over. Yeah. But this can have a very long history. Like people who perform black magic or whatever like that, as you said, the rituals that were done in the basement. If these people had taken over the house, what was the reason it was sold in the first place? If somebody is already getting a place wherein they can perform all their rituals, all whatever you call it, occult rituals, right? And they're still performing it even now. Yeah. So there can be a history wherein, I mean, we don't know why these people sold that house in the first place, if they still wanted to perform the rituals even now.
No. So the previous tenant are not coming. Other people who know about the
whoever. But if at all you have a community like this, no, those people, the tenants might be the torchbearers, or the people who are hosting. So there might be a cult of people who are coming. So we don't know why this is actually even following even now.
लेकिन एक second Savio, अगर the people who sold the house to these people who were supposed, like, you know, जो suffer किए,
family.
Why would they sell their house with all the things kept in the basement कि उन पे वापस ये जाए, you know, कि that these people are into some occult practices or dark practices.
Exactly.
सीधा उन्हीं पे point जाएगा ना.
Exactly. They would have you know, just cleared off all evidence. Yeah. But they kept the scandals over there. They kept whatever those artifacts and everything over there still. So it was kept with some reason. We don't know that. And then afterwards, who discovered it? Probably did the family.
The family only discovered it.
Or
No?
did Zak Bagans?
Zak did.
Zak did.
Family?
As I said, from a very skeptical perspective, it can happen that the basement was never there. As in, all those artifacts were never there. They were all planted only for this season or episode. I'm just speaking from a skeptical perspective. I'm not saying that this really happened or whatever, or he's a fraudster or something like that. No. But from a very skeptical perspective, if you go to see, even if he also re-examines his own case, I think everything is possible.
मुझे actually लग रहा था that the family found it.
No. Zak did खुदाई वगैरह because see, like I said,
खोदने के बाद मिला उसको.
he goes to extreme measures to find out answers, and that's one of the best thing that I like about him, that he keeps on increasing the level के ये करने से क्या होगा, वो करने से क्या होगा, and that's where he figured out के क्या हो सकता है, because when they were taking the readings, the basement was giving out a lot of spikes जो कि बाकी घर नहीं दे रहा था इतना, so they're like कुछ तो है underground.
After that they dug.
Yeah. Also one more thing.
For how long did this other family stay there?
They stayed for I think a year.
Only 1 year.
Like 2011 में they shifted. 2012 में they were already gone. Because they couldn't even the father who performed the exorcism claimed that what he heard and saw during the exorcism were a clear case of demonic possession. But one more thing that is not mentioned and I forgot to mention was the house was, of course it could be because of the woods जो कि used whether to construct, but they were all leaking some kind of oils. Anyone who has touched the oil has faced consequences जो कि उनकी life destroy कर चुकी है. The engineer was one of them. Before the engineer, it was the Ammons family who just saw the oil and they touched it and they're like, what is this?
So my second perspective, if I look at this case, my second perspective is from the religious perspective. Like everybody said that there's a demonic possession. Everybody just rushed onto it. And I see even these things can be done. Like, you talked about backward walking on the wall and all. Who knows? Everybody together, like 3 of us right now in this room says that, you know what, that mic is walking or that tripod is walking on its own. Nobody else is there to...
मैंने इसलिए पूछा कि how many witnesses were there for that backward walking?
And all of them could be hand in gloves with each other and just said, you know what, this thing really happened. I don't know. I don't want to really state it. I mean, don't quote me on it, but this is possible. So from a very religious perspective, it could be that these people did not actually take all the due precautions or the diagnosis before that could, like, we have a process. If somebody comes to us and says, you know what, this person is possessed, we'll first say nahi. First you get a psychiatric evaluation done, get your certificate that everything else is fine, and then afterwards we look at the demonic perspective. Fine, things are being flown out in the house and all. We've seen these cases wherein people do it to themselves, and then afterwards when we have called them out on it, they said, but okay, he's throwing it, but what is making him throw it? People say that, and then afterwards they want people to believe that they are demonically possessed. Why? Because they don't want to take the blame on themselves, that they are actually causing all the disturbances. So from a very religious perspective, what happened over there, the exorcisms or whatever was done and everything, okay, because they're trained to do that, they believe in that, so they will do it. But did it really solve the issue? Like as you said, was the demon actually following the people or anybody who was purchasing the house? So it was the house.
The source was never figured out कि क्या कर रहा था.
And this is very weird then. How do you perform an exorcism over a house. A house has to be cleansed, like Pooja said. Before demolishing, that thing needs to be cleansed. So an exorcism will never be performed on a house. It has to be performed on a person. So it was performed on a person, but that really didn't stop anything, because after Zak Bagans purchased it, वो उसके ऊपर भी आ गया.
And अगर वो land and house से connected है, it will not follow the people.
Yeah, it didn't follow the people actually, because they were fine after they left.
तो वो hotel में उसको वो goat दिख रहा है, and
Because these people, like I'm saying, they were kind of marked by some way or the other while the filming was happening. Someone touched the oil. ये cameraman के ऊपर वो shadow form हुआ था on the hand. So they were kind of marked.
They were live, like they were in and out of that place. So ऐसा लग रहा था कि ठीक है, तुम यहाँ से निकल जाओ. So if at all that the demon was actually following the place, or claiming that land of his own, then whoever has purchased that house, as in that person said, he's not after me, he's after you, because Zak Bagans had actually purchased that house. So वो समझ में आता है, वहां पर ये है. तो फिर exorcism उसके ऊपर क्यों परफॉर्म किया? उसको सीधे सीधे वहां से निकाल देते, everything would have got solved.
And the same with that family, वो एक बार निकल गए, they were fine.
They were fine. They were fine, and that's what makes it so interesting and also controversial, no? Because they had already sold their rights of the story to producers. Even that is shown in the documentary.
Because अगर वो इंसान के organ failure हो रहा है, Zak का आँख खराब हो रहा है, तो ये तो 1 साल रहे हैं उधर. उनके साथ तो पता नहीं क्या
क्या नहीं हुआ रहे.
नहीं, so अभी you have
one more perspective. The third perspective is a very balanced perspective from a very a paranormal investigator perspective, right? Did they actually examine what type of articles and what type of artifacts are actually there? What are they made of? As you said, I mean, the oil, that was a recent development, right? So oil में कोई toxin है क्या? उसका testing किया, lab test किया है क्या? Right? What was it that was getting absorbed in people's skin or whatever like that and getting done? Was there any biohazard that was buried below in the basement, because वहाँ से ये सब आ रहा था? Was there any radioactive material?
I think they did that radioactive वाला.
Did, but बाकी सब का क्या? कुछ artifacts मिले, चलो ठीक है, वो मिट्टी लेके गए, तो उसके बाद क्या? वो rocks का क्या? Whatever built. What was the peculiar thing about that house which was not disturbing the neighbors but them? चलो हमको ये पता है कि वो लोग वहां पर rituals कर रहे थे, the people who were there before that, right? The owners before that. But वो rituals में उन्होंने ऐसा क्या डाला था soil में, और ऐसा क्या डाला था वो घर में, जो which turned it into a very toxic environment. वो स्पाइक भी दे रहा था, तो चलो ठीक है, आई कैन सी दैट. आई मीन मुझे खुद जाके देखना पड़ेगा कि स्पाइक्स कितने आ रहे हैं, कितने नहीं आ रहे हैं, राइट? बट एट द सेम टाइम, आई लाइक यू ऑलवेज नो मी, आई विल फर्स्ट गो एंड इंटरेक्ट अलॉन्ग विद द सॉइल एंड द रॉक एंड सी एग्जैक्टली वो क्या चीज है, सेडिमेंट्री है, इग्नियस है, मेटामॉर्फिक है, क्या है, राइट? आई हैव टू फर्स्ट चेक दैट, और उसके अंदर क्या डेटा स्टोर्ड है. फ्रॉम अ वेरी बैलेंस्ड पर्सपेक्टिव, ओनली देन विल द इन्वेस्टिगेटिव procedure go ahead. Exactly.
Wait, I don't think they would have done that into that much depth.
So अभी ऐसे भैया ने बोला ना, which are all possible outcomes. What I will say is what I was shown. So I'm just saying from a layman point of view, उसको क्या समझ में आया होगा. This is one point of view, and it can also be one of the point of views to this particular case. Now, of course, we can just assume everything that the family said was true. They actually were going through things, because of course there is a possibility कि कुछ ऐसा नहीं हुआ, it was all staged and coincidences and all whatever, but there's also a possibility कि it was all true out there. Why? Because अब जैसे कि if we start connecting the dots, starting from the DCS, the child service वाले people, there was no reason for her to claim that I also saw it, and she still stands by it, even though she still works in DCS. अभी भी उसको पूछते तो she's like, what I saw is very true. I'm not lying about it. There was no reason for her unless she was being paid by the family to say कि तू please ये कर करके. That's the first thing that you know. कि ये please बता. But if she says that, then the mother is not going to get the help she was planning to get by making the children act up. Because the moment she claims that she saw the child move, then they will be put to a mental asylum for a whole different treatment than the treatment or the help that she was looking for. So that is a red flag of the DCS claiming कि नहीं मैंने भी देखा करके. There was no reason. उसका कुछ भी नहीं है फायदा apart from monetary फायदा. And back then it was not even a famous case. It was not been documented or being shown. Nothing like that. It became famous only after all these things happened. And the family started talking about it. तो वो famous होने लगा. जब चल रहा था तब कुछ नहीं हुआ तो हम लोग सोच सकते थे कि अच्छा मीडिया अटेंशन के लिए किया उसने. बट तब तो मीडिया इन्वॉल्व भी नहीं थी back then. That is one thing. Second thing is the exorcism that the church performed. And during the exorcism that the family was doing all kind of weird things and rolling of the eyes and whatever. Of course, all of these things, like you mentioned, they all have their own logical explanation. All can be debunked like ऐसा खड़े हो के कि ऐसा नहीं हो सकता, ऐसा नहीं होता, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. But ऐसा हो भी सकता है. Because unless and until we go on to the proper investigation mode, these things are very much open. They're like open tablets के यहाँ पे भी कुछ हो सकता है, यहाँ पे भी हो सकता है. That way. That was a thing. Third thing was when the family moved out and when Zak came on and the police officer was trying to attend the case, lekin he went through something like that. Of course, it could be that the entity never wanted to leave the family and hence it was creating issues around the people who were trying to help the family or the house for that matter. पुलिस अभी आएगा तो बोलेगा कि नहीं फिर अगर तुम लोगों को कुछ इशू हो रहा है सो एज अ पार्ट ऑफ द सेफ्टी प्रोसीजर लीव द प्रॉपर्टी, लेट द पुलिस स्कैन द एंटायर हाउस एंड लेट्स सी क्या है क्या नहीं करके. तो शायद
इतने सारे लोगों को परचेस करना is also like the DCS person and the police inspector and this and that.
So I think the police also did that. I think उसने family को rescue के चक्कर में शायद उनको बाहर निकाला भी था and he made them stay somewhere. The documentary dives into all these things, but even that is one of the things. And on the way of trying to help the family, he faced an accident. Same if you see, everyone who is trying to do something regarding the house is affected in this entire documentary. From even the DCS officer faced something in a place or something like that. So she had to leave the entire county and go to somewhere else. So much so happened. That the engineer, Zak, the team, the cameraman, the DCS officer, everyone else is getting affected.
What if it's just about a land grab case?
Possible, but then
so somebody is really, with vested interest, really wants to purchase the house, and since then, the family came there and उसको एक कहानी सुनाई कि ये haunted है, तुम्हारे साथ ये हो सकता है, वो हो सकता है. फैमिली ने नहीं माना. फिर बाद में उन्होंने क्या किया है कि चर्च में से 2-3 जन को खरीद के रख दिया. पुलिस ऑफिसर को बोल दिया यार हमने सही में यहाँ पर कुछ देखा है. DCS वालों को, एक लेडी को वहाँ से बोल दिया कि तुम भी क्लेम करो कि मैंने भी ये देखा है. And then afterwards you purchase the family itself. You know what, इतना टॉर्चर क्यों सह रहे हो? एक काम करो, तुम भी क्लेम करो, तुमको भी बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट दिया जा सकता है for this house, right? And that's the reason, एक प्रोडक्शन कंपनी ऑलरेडी है interested if you want to sell the rights to that person. उन्होंने वहाँ से पैसे लिए and finally इतना टॉर्चर हुआ, probably all these toxic things or whatever planted, कि वो लोग finally lay people, so उन लोग ने पूरा give up किया. In 1 year they just left that place. And who purchased it? Zak, who is known to do this thing. So ऐसा हो सकता है कि काफी सालों से वो प्रॉपर्टी पे बहुत लोगों की नजरें हैं and it is a prime land or whatever like that. When you talk about the paranormal interests of all these things, and right now it stays demolished and still just as an after effect कि ऐसे नहीं कि सडनली सब कुछ रुक गया, तो अभी भी लोगों को भेजा जाता है वहां पर कि आप जाके फिर से रिचुअल करो ताकि वो जो बिलीवेबल स्टोरी अभी तक वो पूरा धुआं अभी तक बंद नहीं हुआ है, तो लेट पीपल गो एंड डू दैट ताकि अभी तक बिलीव करे कि वो ऐसा सब कुछ हुआ था बोल के. I don't know, I'm just placing.
Yeah, nahin, possible. Again, a very possible theory. Like I said, there are a lot of angles to this, and this is a very, kyunki considering what today's world has come to with placing things and, getting things done, this is a high possibility. But I'm saying, there is also a possibility that the house is actually so cursed.
Cursed, exactly.
Yes,
And so dark.
Very much.
That it affected a team, his eyes, the engineer, the camera guy. The camera guy right now left the crew and he got into Satan worshipping and all.
Huh?
Yeah, he's not there with the team anymore. Right after this incident, he left.
Satan worship.
Yeah. Directly Satan worship mein he entered. All the dark. He also got into dark stuff and everything.
This is what oxymoron.
Seriously.
So yeah, so there are a lot of things, but ये भी होता है ना कि मतलब you know how do we know के सच्चाई क्या है unless we investigate.
That's the whole point.
है ना,
कि
घूम
हम
फिर के वही हो जाता है.
सारे वो देख रहे हैं, but ultimately only when we are there and when we are investigating,
Yeah.
तभी हम अपना
Yeah.
proper.
I think
ये दे
Zak
पाएंगे.
still owns the land शायद.
लेकिन ना एक चीज मेरे माइंड में बहुत स्ट्रांगली हिट हुई थी व्हेन यू वर टेलिंग दैट यू नो ही इन्वेस्टिगेटेड एंड उसने ही टुक इट टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल वेयर ही क्लोज द डोर्स
Yeah.
एंड सील्ड द डोर्स एंड देन ही टोल्ड द पुलिस कि हम ये टाइम तक बाहर नहीं आए. तो यार काश हम ये सब कर पाते यहाँ पे वेयर पीपल
No, true actually.
where we are actually
हाँ.
we have you know police by our side that okay we are investigating this place and that place. यहाँ पर तो not
Yeah.
even close to this.
Yeah.
वो तो पॉसिबल था पूजा भाई बिकॉज वो उसकी खुद की प्रॉपर्टी थी. तो
यहाँ पर खुद की प्रॉपर्टी के लिए भी अरे क्या आप अंधविश्वास फैला रहे हो, कब ये ना ये सब बकवास है. नो सीरियसली आई एम टेलिंग यू.
क्या पता जैक बगांस ने एक्चुअली क्या बताया था. I mean, वो तो चलो डॉक्यूमेंट्री में बता दिया कि उसने, लेकिन ये बोला रहेगा कि अंदर बहुत से कांड हो रहे हैं, तो शायद से अगर एक अंदर एक इंट्रूडर है या सीरियल.
That's what he said actually. That's what he said to the police. कि in case there is a secret passage जिसके through intruders are coming in to the basement to perform rituals, then please you know बचा लेना हम लोग को after this duration is.
तो ये तो हम भी कर सकते हैं, बट देन ये तो छलावा होगा.
Yeah, and मतलब अभी कैसा है कि especially talking about Zak हो गया तो you know like I said he has a history of people blaming him for exaggeration, for
Sensationalism.
whatever it is. But like I said, out here in the case there are a lot of things which can be investigated, can be figured out, and can be taken in a way that this is an extreme case of something really demonic. You know, जो कि generally many people don't encounter. Even you know जैसे कि अभी there's so many places even we go, for example even the Nainital वाला place when we went there, देखा जाए तो इन्वेस्टिगेशन में भरे लोगों को कितना समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है about the intensity of the place. We know how intense it was.
Man, that was the most intense that
you know,
at least
especially
at a personal level.
yeah, especially the readings and the things that you both went through, or the replies we got during the investigation, or for that matter the location जो हमको मिला था with two different kinds types of entities haunting that place. Imagine if we had the creative ability to show it to the people, it could have been an equivalent to a demon house documentary.
It would have been, yeah. Especially, I think Matheran
House,
Matheran
yeah,
House also.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So you know that's what. So I think what makes these things work so good, the shows that he is doing, is because of the availability of resources around him that support him in doing what he's doing. Like you said, पुलिस भले जो भी है बट पुलिस रेडी है. यू नो कारपेंटर बोला कि हाँ मैं रेडी है पूरा प्लाईवुड लगाने को, टीम बोला कि हाँ मैं रेडी है पूरा एकदम क्या करने को, कैमरा क्यों रेडी है क्या करना है.
बॉटम लाइन इट्स स्टिल मच मोर ओपन ओवर देयर. यहाँ पर वो ओपननेस आनी जरूरी है.
सो यू नो सो दोज थिंग्स आई थिंक एट द एंड वही चलता है ना कि हाउ मतलब कितना अच्छे से आप दिखा पा रहे हो व्हाट यू आर फीलिंग. हम लोग तो नहीं दिखा पाते हैं, एंड अगर हम दिखाने जाएंगे तो लोग बोलेंगे ये क्या फेंक रहा है इधर.
Exactly, that ceases to be a documentary and starts becoming more like a movie. Yeah, that's like I don't know.
But I think कहीं ना कहीं जाके people should know, क्योंकि it's not मतलब it's not just कि आप लोग खड़े हो, आप लोगों ने एक को कुछ तो एक टच कर लिया एंड अरे इधर ऐसा है करके. मतलब the visions you people get, for example जो ड्रीम पूजा ने देखा and then what corroborates right during the investigation with the old lady and everything out there, if people could see a glimpse of it कि ये लेडी ऐसे दिखती थी, you know उसका बैक ऐसे था, वो ऐसे बेंड होके थी. I don't know, maybe I feel कि people will actually see कि how much risk it involves to go out to a place like that to investigate.
Having known that it is dangerous.
Yeah.
And she even showed up as my mom.
Yeah, exactly, you know. Shapeshifter. So, of course, we are not complaining here. We are not even expecting people to understand what we are going through. But it's very many people say na कि जो कि तुम लोग फेक करते हो या फिर ये क्या वाहियात चीज़ है, ऐसा थोड़ी होता है करके. मे बी फॉर देम जस्ट टू हैव अ पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू कि सी दिस इज व्हाट आवर साइकिक सॉ. So when I am also standing and when I am also taking a call कि शिवा को डालना है नहीं डालना है, पूजा को एस्टेस में डालना है नहीं डालना है, even I am going through multiple thoughts right now, the risk involved, what question I should be asking, how should I save her in case something happens, what to do with the crew. So so even अगर someone could understand the blending of emotions going on inside, or understand the gravity of the situation out there, it would be great way to connect for people to connect to us and understand कि अच्छा एवे जाके कुछ नहीं कर रहे वहाँ पे. But like you said, if we start doing that, it will become a what do you call that? It becomes a fictionalized documentary. Exactly.
क्योंकि हो सकता है जैसे the way we are dissecting it, हो सकता है ज़ैक के साथ actually हुआ हो.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. All the three perspectives. जो last perspectives are from a very paranormal investigator perspective. उसके साथ हुआ रहेगा. But then अभी उसने उसके साथ किया क्या है? Right. अभी भी अगर कोई वो घर खरीदे, will the demon resurrect again?
Yeah.
And मेरा अभी भी red flag वही है कि the family once they left, everything was fine, nothing happened, nothing. And यहाँ पर ये लोग के पीछे जा रहा है. So I don't know, probably because Zak purchased, वो भी हो सकता है, but
हाँ, like it kind of shifted the thing
कि यहाँ से okay ये निकल गए, अब ये है, probably that could.
So according to him, the artifacts that he collected still hold the demons that were haunting that place. Okay. So that's how he saved the house.
I would say in this case, in this regard, I mean, there's one very bold statement that I would like to make, and this is one of the solutions I give for people who have faced all these things, is that you might have purchased the house or the land from its previous owner by doing all the legal activity or whatever like that, the documentation and everything, right? But have you purchased the house from the spirit of that land? It might be that the spirit of the land still doesn't know where is the owner, the original owner who built it. It belongs to him, and everybody else, it looks as an intruder. Yeah. So probably it is not really demonic, but it's a very protective spell. So that thing will follow every artifact that is taken away from there. Yeah. Did you take really permission from that place? And what did you actually do to make that spirit or the demon prevalent over there to know that, what, this place now belongs to me, and now you work for me and you work together to build this up? Did they actually do that? Because every place is alive, everything is alive. We don't see that life in them. But when we purchase a house, you perform some rituals like house opening hota hai, house warming bolo, ya jo bhi hai, whatever. There are so many different names given to it and all. You sprinkle holy water probably, or do some prayers or rituals or whatever. But have you communicated this to the spirit of the land, or even probably the prevalent demons over there, that what, you have a beef with someone else, it's not with me. So you leave in peace, and we just.
And just from curiosity point of view, when he collects the artifacts, and अभी जैसे यहाँ ये demon house के collected हैं, are they shielded? Because
they don't follow shielding.
No, not just that, because the kind of things that have happened, अगर वो पूरा, if he's claiming कि वो पूरा जो energy है, if it's
he's not going to shield, no, because he needs.
नहीं, forget the shielding also फिलहाल. But if he claims कि वो पूरी energy is in that artifact and that artifact, तो वहाँ पर भी तो equal कांड होना चाहिए यार.
होता है ना. His museum is one of the most haunted place in the world right now. People go, investigators are given permission.
But इस हद तक का नहीं कि इन लोगों का एक्सीडेंट हो रहा है and ये हो रहा है वो.
अरे when you enter the museum, you sign off a waiver. People have fainted वहाँ पे, they have gone unconscious, few have felt heart palpitations. Lot of things have happened in that museum, and that's why people still go out, because it's a thrill which is quite real. It's not like sitting on a roller coaster कि 2 मिनट में घूम के आ गए खत्म हो गया. नहीं, it's a thrill for people who are into dark stuff. It stays with them. There are certain things in his museum which is very fascinating, that people cannot just, and some of the celebrities who have been there, like for example Post Malone and all, who have been there, who have not respected the privacy of the spirits and ghosts, debug box and all. They have touched and they have मतलब वो touch करके आता है the celebrity Post Malone, and in the next 6 months there are 6 attempts on his life.
Oh.
Not just by someone else, like उसका plane crash होते होते बचता है, कहीं और कुछ होते होते बचता है, and he's like what the fuck is happening with me right now, what is happening? So see, it's all could be a coincidence, but how is that कि just after that moment वो शुरू हो रहा है, उसके पहले क्यों नहीं हो रहा था? You know, so the museum is very haunted. It's still people go down, they all investigate too. I think Sam and Kobe, they investigated the place. And the good part of that museum is, which I think you will respect a lot, is that he keeps those things as it is. वो tamper नहीं करता उसके साथ. मतलब चीज़ें लिया, अगर उसमें एक दाना भी मिट्टी कुछ लगा हुआ है, वो लगा है, सालों से लगा हुआ है. He's not going to remove it. So that way he has collected chairs जिसके ऊपर serial killers have sat. He has got buses जिसके अंदर serial killers have killed people. You know, all those buses, seats, blood stain are still out there. And every room has its own dedicated, you know,
मुझे visit करना है अभी.
It's
Jana, even that's there even on my list also to just visit that place. For that matter, I mean, come and visit my house also. मेरा भी घर पे काफी
हमारे तो आधी चीजें वहीं पड़ी हुई है haunted
objects मेरे भी घर पे पड़े हुए हैं, आके देख लो. And I also keep it as pristine as possible.
But yeah, you know, this was the Demon House. It's a very interesting you know, documentary. If you have watched it, do comment down below, let us know what you think about it. If you have not watched it, you can go and watch it. कहाँ पे है मेरे को नहीं पता. I watched it I think 4 or 5 years back. It is there somewhere on the internet. If you have the patience, please go and watch it. It is really good because no matter what the conclusion is, the exaggeration is, it's a good watch, you know, and sometimes you just watch it for the sake of watching.
I guess it's there on Netflix.
There? On Netflix? Netflix को कब बेचा उसने पता नहीं. Anyway, but this was a Demon House, and we really hope we find a house like that in India and we get a chance to purchase it. And we do our own Demon House out there. Of course, not by censorship. Never mind exaggerating it. But yeah, it will be great, no? I think Goa has those places, and we can do something like that in future. But this is the episode. I think we are done.
Yeah.
I'm really hungry. We should go and have breakfast now. But yeah, if you're watching this and you have reached the end of this video, thank you so much for all the love and all the support. We really appreciate everything that you people are doing to support the podcast. I think this will be the yeah this is, I think इसके पहले previous जो videos आए हैं, even thanks for supporting those videos too. I know podcasts are very interesting, but like I said, हम लोग सिर्फ 3 ही डालेंगे एक महीने में, and this is I think the second slot it will be, but I don't know how the कौन से you know sequence में चीज़ें जाएंगी. But anyway, thank you for watching, thank you for all the support, thank you for all the love. Let us know your favorite moment and what do you think about the Demon House. What could possibly be the reason of the hauntings, and what could have the family done or Zak could have done to support or help out the spirits that are haunting the place. And I think by this, Sarbajit signing off.
Pooja signing off.
Cheers from Savi as well.
Bye everyone.